Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to solve the Java coding question which was asked by one of my subscribers. Coming to the question, here they have asked us to create a class called fruits with the following attributes, which are fruit ID, fruit name, price and rating. And these attributes should be private, and we should also create getters and setters and also a constructor for the class. Then they have asked us to create a class called my class and to implement one static method which will take two input parameters. The first parameter will be array of fruit objects and the second parameter will be integer parameter which will represent the rating. This method will return the maximum priced fruit object from the array of fruit objects whichever has the rating greater than the given rating. If no fruit with the above condition is present in the array of fruit objects, then the method will return null. So what they are saying here is, out of all the fruits which we receive as a parameter, we are supposed to return the fruit which has the maximum price, and there is one additional condition that it must have the rating greater than the given rating. That is another parameter which we are receiving here. If there is no fruit with the above condition, that is the fruit with the highest price and having the rating greater than the given rating, then the method should return null. And they have also given us the note saying no two fruits will have the same price. Okay, and all the searches should be case insensitive, and they have given us the above method should be called from the main method. Okay, and one more condition is that for find maximum price by rating method, the main method should print the fruit ID from the returned object. So what they are asking here is, they are asking here us to return the object to the main method. Then from that object, we should extract the ID and print that ID. And if the static method return the value null, then we should print no such fruit. These are the input and the output. So here we are receiving four objects. This is object 1 with the red color, object 2 that is second fruit, object 3 and object 4. And the last input, that is 4, which is in bold, represent the rating. So the output here is 1 or 2. The output is 1 or 2 because when we give the input as 4 for the rating, then first it will check whether this fruit has the rating greater than 4. But the rating is 4 here, which is not greater than 4. So it will not check for the price. Then it will go to the next object. It will check whether the rating is greater than 4. Yes, here it is. So it will consider the maximum price as 100. Then it will go to the next object and it will check whether the rating is greater than 4. Here it is not greater than 4, so it will not check for the price. Then it will go to the next object which is having ID 104. Then it will check whether the rating is greater than 4. Yes, here the rating is greater than 4. So it will check for the price and will compare whether the 80 is greater than the current maximum price, which is 100. It is not. So it will print the ID of the fruit which is having the rating greater than the given rating and the highest price. One more thing, here the input is in the format fruit ID, then fruit name, then fruit price, then fruit rating. Again, fruit ID, fruit name, fruit price, and fruit rating, and so on. And out of these four fruits, we are supposed to find the fruit which has the rating greater than the rating, which is the last input, which is 4. And if there is no fruit which matches the above conditions, then we are supposed to print the output as no such fruit. As I have explained in my previous videos, we will follow some steps while writing the code. So the first step is writing import statements. Since we need only the scanner, so we will write just one import statement here. Import java.util.scanner. So they have asked us to create a class with the name my class. So I will create the main class with the name my class by writing public class my class And how will the system come to know that it is the main class? That is by writing public static void main string args and the square brackets. You can put the square brackets here also. Then the next step is to create the class. They have asked us to create a class fruits. So the name of the class should be fruits and it should have the attributes fruit ID, fruit name, price and rating, which are of type int, string, int and int respectively. So we will create a class called fruits and it will have 4 attributes. And they have also mentioned us to create the attributes and the attributes should be private. So we will create private int fruit ID, then private string fruit name, then private int price, private int rating. I'm sorry, this is private. Okay. Now we have declared the variables which we need here. Then we are supposed to create constructor. We can create the constructor by writing the class name, then passing the parameters here. So I'll pass int fruit ID, string fruit name, int price and int rating. Now we'll assign the values which we receive through the constructor to the current class. We can do that by saying this dot fruit ID is equal to fruit ID. This dot fruit name is equal to fruit name. This dot price equal to price. Then this dot rating equal to rating. Then the next task is to create getters and setters. To create getters, we have to write public. Then we have to create getters and setters. First, I'll create the getter for fruit ID. So I'll write public followed by the type of fruit ID, which is int. Then name for the getter. I'll name it as get fruit ID. Then we'll write return this dot fruit ID. I have explained the concept of getters and setters and constructors and about class in the Java concepts video. So if you're not familiar with these concepts, please go and watch that video before continuing. I have given the link to that video in the description. Then I'll create getter for the fruit name. So I'll write public string get fruit name, then return this dot fruit name, then getter for price, public int get price, return this dot price, then finally the getter for rating. So public int get rating, return this dot rating. After creating the getters, we will create the setters for fruit ID, fruit name, price, and rating. So I'll create the setter for fruit ID, public void set fruit ID, fruit ID as the input, and we will set this dot fruit ID is equal to fruit ID. Similarly, I'll create setter for fruit name. So public void set fruit name. This will receive string, which is the fruit name. This dot fruit name is equal to fruit name. Then setter for the price, public void set price. This will receive price as the input. This dot price equal to price. Then setter for the rating. So we'll say public void set rating. It will receive rating as input. Then we'll say this dot rating is equal to rating. Now we have created the class successfully. In the question, they have asked us to create one static method, which is find maximum price by rating, and it will take two input parameters, which is array of fruit objects and integer parameters. But before implementing this static method, we'll first write the code to receive the input. First, we will create the variables int fruit ID, string fruit name, int price, then int rating. Now we will create an array of fruit objects by saying fruits, then the variable name. So I'll name it as fruits. You can name it as fruits array also. Then new fruits. So I'll create an array which can store 4 objects. Then we are supposed to create a scanner. Scanner sc is equal to new scanner system.in. By using this scanner instance, we can receive the input. Now to accept 4 objects, we will create a for loop for int I is equal to 0, I is less than fruits dot length I plus plus. First, we will receive the fruit ID, so it will be fruit ID is equal to sc dot. It is of type int, so I'll write next int. Then, since the next input is of type string, we have to go to the next line by saying sc dot next line. I'm sorry, this is next line. We have to do this step only if the next line which we are receiving is a string that is immediately after the integer input. So the next we'll write code to receive fruit name, that is fruit name is equal to sc dot next line, since it is a string, then price is equal to sc dot next int, then rating, which is of type int, so sc dot next int. Once we receive these inputs, we'll pass those inputs through the constructor to the class so that an object can be created by using these inputs. So I'll write fruits of I is equal to new fruits, and I'll pass fruit ID, fruit name, price, and rating. Now, since the length of fruits is 4, so this for loop will repeat 4 times so that it will receive 4 objects. Now we have to write one more input statement. That is because you can see here in the input, after receiving 4 fruit objects, we are receiving one integer input, that is the rating. So I will write int rating. So I'll name it as rating 1, and it is of type integer. Sc dot next int. Now we have received the 4 inputs. Now the next step is to create the static method. So they have asked us to create one static method which will receive 2 input parameters, which is array of fruit objects and an integer parameter. So I will write public static, then the return type. Since they have asked us to return object in the question, that is, you can see here the method will return maximum priced fruit object. So we are going to return object. So I'll specify the return type as fruits, which is the fruit object, and the method name will be find maximum price by rating. You can see here find maximum price by rating, and it will take 2 inputs. First input will be fruit object array. So I'll write fruits, then I'll name it as fruits, then another input is rating. So I'll write int rating. It is giving error because we are not returning anything, but we have specified we will return fruits. The logic which we are going to follow here is, first we will declare the maximum price as 0, that is the highest price as 0. Then we will first check for the rating, that is if only the rating is greater than the given rating which we are receiving from here, and if only the rating is greater than this rating, then we'll check for its price. And then finally we will return the object which has the highest price and the rating greater than the given rating. So first I'll declare a variable which is of type int, and I'll name it as highest price, and I'll assign it to 0. Now we'll also declare one object which is of type fruit, but we'll assign it to null for now, and we will return null from this method only if there is no fruit which matches the given conditions. So I'll declare a variable of type fruits, and I'll name it as fruit with maximum price, and I'll assign it to null. Now we will write a for loop. So int I is equal to 0, I is less than fruits dot length I plus plus, and in here first we'll check whether the rating of current fruit dot get rating is greater than the rating which we are receiving as input. Okay, then only if this condition is true we will check if the current fruits price, that is fruits of I dot get price, is greater than the highest price. This is capital P here, and if this is true, first we'll update the highest price variable to the price of the current fruit, that is fruits of I dot get price. Then we will assign the variable fruits with maximum price to the current fruit. Okay, fruit with maximum price equal to fruits of I, which is the current fruit. And finally, once we loop through all the elements of the fruits array, we will return fruit with maximum price. So basically what this method will do is, first here we are declaring highest price to 0, then we are setting the fruit with maximum price to null, then we are iterating to all the elements of the array, that is the arrays of fruit objects, and we are checking whether the fruits rating is greater than the rating which we are receiving from here, and if the rating is greater than the rating which we are receiving from here, then we are going to check whether the fruits price is greater than the highest price, which initially will be 0. And if the fruits price is greater than the highest price, we are modifying the highest price variable to price of the current fruit, and we are assigning the fruit with maximum price variable to current fruit. And if there is no fruit with the rating greater than the given rating, then we'll return the fruit with maximum price variable as it is, which will be null initially. The next step is in the static method from the main method. We can do that by saying, since we are receiving fruit object from the static method, so I'll declare the data type as fruits, then the variable name as fruits fruit1, then the method name find maximum price by rating, then I'll pass the array which is fruits as the first input, and the rating which is rating 1, which we are receiving from here. Then once the static method returns the fruit, we will check whether the fruit1 which is returned by the static method is it equal to null. If that is equal to null, we will simply print that output has no such fruit, as they have mentioned here, that is no such fruit. Then if the result returned by the find maximum price by rating method is not null, we will print the fruit ID, that is system dot out print ln then fruit 1 dot get fruit ID. So this was the code. Now I'll try to run the code. Now as given in the question, I'll copy the input which has IDs 101, 102, 103 and 104. Program again. Now I'll paste the input and I'll press enter. Now it's waiting for me to enter the rating. I'll enter the rating as 4 and you can see here we are getting the output as 102, which is same as given here. So this was about the second question. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe this channel. Thank you for watching this video.